Hello, guys. Welcome back to the Play On podcast with your this is episode 62. And it's we're close to the end of the season. It's been a long season.
Yeah, it's practically done, to be honest. Well, like a couple of the leagues, right? Well, one of the league wrapped up. Everything else was pretty much done. We're just waiting on the Serie A to see what happens. European competition finals are done. Only one that's left is Champions League. And yeah, there's a bunch of transfer movers out there right now.
Isn't Serie A also done?
Yeah, that's why. Serie A, well, we're just waiting on that one to be done, and
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
it got finalized. And we'll go over that in this episode. Yeah, if anything, we could start with that off the rip. Napoli became champions. Scott McTominay, the MVP of the league, performed wonders and scored a banger of a goal for the first goal.
Yeah, it's like what we've been harping on the entire year that once you leave Man U, it's like your career skyrockets because it's shown like everyone that's left Man U has shown that they've had a higher gear and they were just being held back at the club.
Yeah, and who I forgot which coach for Man U was it? I don't know if
Uh,
it was Solskjaer or David
yeah,
Moyes, but they were like criticizing or even
this
Ten Hag.
It was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for the sale of McTominay.
Yeah, he said, can't believe, like, some pretty, but I'm paraphrasing, like, he can't believe that they will tell him, even though he's one of the best players. People were clowning him. Biggest one was Mark Goldbridge. He was celebrating when he got sold, and well, looks like Man U was holding him back this whole time.
Yeah, and it was funny because there was some memes of the youth coach ruined McTominay's career because he should have moved him to a striker in his youth career to get him started. And it's funny because a lot of people would meme about that, but this year Conte decided to move him up from the DM spot to more an advanced midfield role,
Hmm.
and they paid off because I think he was like the second highest goal scorer for Napoli, and then that's a crazy.
Yeah, it's a huge shift, and same thing. Like again, like the predictions being Jesse looked like idiots. We pretty much thought Napoli had no chance because Kvaratskhelia didn't want to be there. Still got sold in January. Osimhen, just the huge saga that happened last summer. I'm like, yeah, their team is crumbling, nothing's happening. Conte said, "Give me what you got, bring me sticks, I'll win the war," and that's what he pretty much did. Beating like an Inter Milan side it's in the Champions League final, so it's one of the best teams in Europe, and he beats them in the league tournament, which is insane.
Yeah, but it's also I think credit to the Napoli management because I think it goes unheralded what they do year in year out because they will find that under like uncut gem from markets and just bring them in and have them shine for them that like people wouldn't really like know about it. Like Kvaratskhelia before he went to Napoli, I want to say like 99.9% of people did not know who he was, the amount of talent he had, or the level he could get to. Same with Osimhen, kind of went undercover, and like they've been doing this for years, and they've always just know when to bring in someone.
And again, one of the midfielders they also lost was Zielinski, the Polish midfielder.
Yeah.
A huge pivotal guy for when they won their previous title. They lost him too, and looks like they didn't need him. So yeah, it just shows that Conte is a natural winner. He deserves more respect. Um, how many league titles is that? He won with Juventus, Chelsea, um, Napoli now. I can't think of the other teams, but he just has a great track record. If you want to win, go with him. And yeah, you wonder what would happen if he would have stayed with Tottenham.
Well, he was there for 2 years, and that's usually what happens with him currently. Because at first with Juventus, that's where he stayed the longest, and then he usually gets in arguments with management because of wanting more control. So
Yep.
he's not known to stay there for a while, and
But don't you
I,
remember, like, he criticized the management super hard, saying like this club is not ready to win. They don't want to win.
yeah, but also the reason why he went there was because I don't know if you remember, uh, Spurs had managed to poach the director of football from Juventus, who was
Yeah.
good friends with Conte, and
Hmm.
he went to Spurs with him, and then he lured him over, and then that's when they got Kulusevski and Bentancur from Juventus in that double deal, and they were like showing like signs of improvement. But then I don't know if you remember, like a couple years back, uh, Juve got caught in another scandal, and then like their entire board like left, and they had to like transition over. And Spurs director of football was also caught up in that, and he was suspended for like 2 years of football.
Hmm.
And he's actually, I think, coming back this summer back to Spurs.
Yeah, it's an interesting scenario, but yeah, that pretty much makes the segue for Spurs winning their first title, dude.
Yeah, it's a something I'm happy about. I was rooting for. You know, some Spurs fans deserve it. I know Sonny or Heung-min's son really deserved that title. He's been a loyal servant of the club and probably should have moved somewhere else with the level he's at. But he was loyal to it and he finally got repaid for it.
Yeah, and got paid off, and yeah, he won the Tottenham won a European title before Arsenal did, and before people start criticizing that Arsenal was, or like even not criticizing, people start talking shit that Arsenal was in Champions League what semifinal where when Spurs won the Europa League. First of all, Arsenal couldn't win the Europa League final or the Europa League in general. I don't remember the final they got to. Did they get in the final?
Yes, they did. They
Yeah,
went against
Sevilla, no.
Chelsea.
Oh, Chelsea,
Chelsea
yeah, and they lost
Chelsea
it.
4-1. They got
So.
blown out. So
You guys can't even win the competition, so if you guys try to diminish the title, you guys couldn't win it. But yeah, it wasn't one of the best finals. I'll
oh
admit it.
no, oh
It
no,
was
that
legit.
was
It's crazy to go back to back horrendous finals in European football. First one against Liverpool and now against Man U. But hey, you got to do what you got to do. And a big what was his name? Postecoglou. I forgot his
Ange.
nickname.
Ange.
He's right, dude. His second year comes with titles.
Yeah, and it was crazy because he said it in the beginning of the year, so he said it early on, so like there was like no final or anything like that, but he backed himself. He got clowned for it a lot, especially on the media and like opposing fans, but he backed it up. He got Spurs, a notoriously, bad club at like getting trophies, a title in the second season.
Bro, now they could stop boasting the Audi Cup now. Because that was getting pathetic, dude. But yeah, like I'm happy for it because again, we were both very huge advocate of how Ange plays. It's just attractive football. This past match, again, he was dealt with a what is it, bad hand, just
Yeah.
because a lot of his players were injured for that final.
Yeah, and especially the creative players or the creative outlets on that team were injured with Bergvall out, with Madison out, with
Hmm.
Kulusevski. Like you're like that final, they were playing long ball FC because they had no one else that could create. But you know what? It also showed that Ange could, change up his tactics and
Hmm.
evolve to be able to like win a game, even if it's not going to be the best looking one.
Yeah, because Ange is again the thing we rave about him is he's very attacking football. This one, he scored the goal, get back. I want to defend this lead because I know the players I have and the way I want to play, I can't play. And huge shout out to Richarlison. Again, we clown him a lot, and even before the final, we are sending memes to each other about him. But he did his thing. He was out there just ha having the best work rate possible and coming down, pretty much playing a five man back line because he would drop that deep. But yeah, it's just huge. And as far as the other side, Man U, that squad has to go. Amorim knows it. He legit criticized it right after the match, saying that, or no, not after the match, when the season was over for the Premier League, he said something along the lines that, yeah, this team was a disappointment.
Well, he's already announced that like four players are already out, or he's pushing them out. It was
Garnacho.
Garnacho, Lindelof's leaving,
Hmm.
Johnny Evans, which is crazy that they had to unretire Johnny Evans to be able to help out in that squad. And then can't remember the fourth one, but yeah, it's just it's crazy how far they've fallen and how bad it's gotten. Because this was literally a final of 16 and 17, scrapping it out, and it showed in the game.
Hmm.
But Man U, it's just
I'm,
a mess of a club.
I think it just worked for Man U because, like I said, Tottenham was shorthanded. They didn't have their best players out there. They had whatever they had. If anything, the best players they did have there was their back line. They had like the full back line available, but other than that, like midfield forward, they didn't have everything.
But
I
I
think I
think
think
it,
even Solanke was playing like on one leg, I think.
yeah, and I think that shows a difference in transfer policy because all of those Spurs players that they've gotten over, showed out, and or had moments in that game. Like Solanke was a consistent threat, providing pressure. Brendan Johnson, hey, he scored his goal,
Hmm.
or auto goal if you want, but he provided that pressure. Mickey Van der Ven, goal line clearance. Vicario had that save. Like
Hmm.
they showed out. But Man U, Hoyland just looks like a mess. And then everyone else that they bought that were supposed to like provide something have not, and they were just a wasteful amount of money.
From Man U, who I did like was the left back. He played really well.
Dogu?
Dogu. He played amazing. He was showing out. He was constantly up there. Casemiro, he has to retire because, or at least play in a different league because he does not have the legs for it. Onana, I just feel bad for him because at one time he was pretty much man of the match for the Champions
Uh,
League final.
yeah, but I don't feel bad for it because when he came into Man U, he was like shitting on Harry Maguire because it was the easy thing to do. But Harry Maguire has been a consistent rock for
Hmm.
Man U, and like even through like fans turning on him,
Yeah.
and he like exasperated the situation. And
Hmm.
now it's him, and he's like looking for consolement.
Yeah. So it's just a whole mess of things. And I think probably the biggest storyline and was the Garnacho thing. He came out and criticized the club or the coach pretty hard. And to a point, to a degree, he is right, but you're pretty much just extra stuff from the club. And this is the reason why he's listed you in the transfer market. What did he say that again paraphrasing, it's like pretty much saying like if you need goals, why am I on the bench? Because
Yeah.
he provided the example that he assisted or scored in the semifinal, but in the final he's on the bench, which is right, but you went about it the wrong way. Maybe something in training he was being too cocky, still wasn't putting in the effort, but yeah, out here you got to earn your spot, and you just you didn't train well enough to be in the starting 11.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just don't like Garnacho's attitude anymore because he thinks he's a star, and at the moment, like you haven't provided much.
Yeah, I think it's showing a reflection of the Marcus Rashford situation that's happened. Like he came up from the academy, he's had moments where the fans back him and like he's started to get a hot head and he's starting to think, "Oh, this is my club. I'm like the star, I'm the guy and allow me to do what I do because I've shown that I could get results."
Yeah.
But like not at the level where like sure you've had some like, had the goal of the season or whatever, but you haven't done anything. You haven't won a league. You won an FA Cup last year, but that was on pure luck. You've had like two of the worst Man United seasons in like I don't know how long, like 6 years. I don't know when was the last time Man U finished 16th. Like how can you like come out here and brag about being like the guy when Man U's at this level?
Yeah, and I don't know where he thinks he's gonna go because yeah, again, I'm already vividly said, and there's multiple quotes pretty much saying that telling him to go look for a club. I don't know what club's gonna get him. Like, if he's thinking like Barcelona or Real Madrid are gonna come for him, probably not. Especially with the price tag, more than likely he's gonna go to like a mid-table team from the Premier League. He's probably gonna stay where he's comfortable. But I don't know. At this point, he's gonna have to turn things around because Marcus Rashford clearly did. But even then. I don't know if Garnacho has the mental capacity because he's even younger and he thinks he's already the star.
And with less results, because at least when Marcus Rashford burst onto the scene, it was when Manu was at a higher level and was like producing like better results. Because I think he's had like single tally GAs like throughout the season.
Who, Garnacho?
Yeah, it's not like he's
Yeah.
giving crazy numbers.
Mm-mm. Not that I can think of, but it's just insane to see. Um, I don't know. You literally told me in one of the things you talked about how they're thinking of spending almost 200 million in the transfer market. I don't know how they could justify that,
Yeah,
especially now that you're the board, you have to be careful with your buys.
he had 6 goals and 2 assists this season.
What about the previous season? Probably less, right? He was younger.
Yeah, let me see.
Just crazy. And boy scores a goal. He thinks he's Messi. My bad, Ronaldo. He thinks he's Ronaldo.
He, um,
But Yeah, I just wonder where Man U is going from this. Clearly, they have to generate some kind of money and buy pretty well. Hey, I think Barcelona is looking to sell their goalkeeper. Maybe they could buy him.
Yeah, no. I don't think anyone wants it. No, but I think Man U's problem is like so growing. I think it's worse than people realize because they have no Champions League football. Like the financial incentive that they needed from this is big because it's also been reported that sure Almiron's gonna get like a transfer chest to like bring in his players because that's what he needs because his squad does need a changeover. But they're also laying off 200 staff. Like this is not a good situation. And then they're still trying to push through a new world-class stadium that's saying that that might cost $2 billion. Like this is just a money pit currently at Man U with no like end at sight.
Yeah, because they're falling drastically down. Because yeah, last season they got saved by winning the FA Cup on their own merit and getting European football. This year, that's what they were kind of banking on, winning the European Final or FA Cup, just because their season has been looking great. Um, Again, I don't know how you're gonna attract players, like top quality players, because I think right now they're going for Mateus Cunha. That's probably the biggest one right now,
Yep.
but they're spending 70 million on him for a guy that hasn't scored more than 15 goals in a season.
And I think the biggest problem is for me is he's not a striker. So if you're playing him there, like the results that you want from him is not what you're gonna get. I feel like he's more of a like similar. I think he plays in a similar spot to Bruno Fernandes, where like he's the most advanced midfielder and then
Mhm.
provides for that. And I feel like they're both gonna clash trying to get to the same space.
Yeah, he's the more of a second striker. He reminds me of kind of Rafinha. Again, Rafinha plays a little bit more on the wing, but they're more comfortable playing a second striker. But it's in kind of like Man U coded because again, the previous two strikers they bought, Hoyland and Xerxes, they don't score a lot of goals. They're legit second strikers, so they're just keep buying second strikers, which is not the move. But again, if they want the Osimhen's, the Gyökeres, the Cheskos, they're not gonna get them. Like there is just no attraction. I think even Amorim said that of because Gyökeres said first that he wants to go to a team that plays Champions League. That's kind of a requirement he has. Amorim came out and said that he wants players that want to play for Man U, not for certain competitions. But there is certain things you do want to play if you're a top tier player, you know? You can
Yeah,
only attract so many players.
and plus the Man U project's looking like it's gonna take a couple of years. Like not a lot of players want to waste away their years of their career at a club like building it up. Like no player knows how long they can be at this level. Like
Mm.
anything can happen. So I'm not sure if they're gonna want to waste away their years at Man U, especially now that they can provide the same financial incentive that they used to with the certain situation they're at.
Yeah. And I want to see how they offload even Casemiro, if that's even possible. Because again, he wasn't one of the guys you mentioned in the transfer list. But yeah, it's just a weird situation. But we could go on to the Spurs. This is huge for them. They get Champions League football next year.
And
I
and they get a bigger financial incentive because they won the European Cup, and then they get Champions League football, so they also get that bonus money.
Yeah, because recently I've been liking a lot of their buys. Granted, Solanke's been a little iffy on the price tag. But again, he's been injured a lot this season. It's a lot of the the Spurs curse like this season, just constantly getting injured. But I
Hmm.
want to see what they do with with their reinforcements. I want to see who they want to buy. I think they do need another center back as a backup because Van der Veen again has injury issues. Who knows what happens to Cuti Romero? So there's a couple of things. Goalkeeper wise, I think they're fine. Maybe even still James Madison at this point.
Well, from what I've seen is that they've been linked to Johnny Cardoso from Betis
Hmm.
as a CDM option, which I think is great. I think that's a great buy.
Yeah.
They've also been linked with Sesko and Xavi Simmons. I feel like that's a kind of a reach with, especially with the numbers that are getting, mentioned for them.
Yeah.
But the thing is that I feel like with Spurs, we know that who they buy or can be solid, but the problem that has been happening for a couple years is that they might buy good players, but they might not fit exactly the coach's system.
Yeah.
So hopefully this summer, Ange gets the support for like the players that fit his style and you know I feel like I could trust Spurs to get good players because they've always been solid.
Yeah. Um, again, I can't think of like a name that like fits Spurs because again, Ange, like the players he's been asking for, like that the backup goalkeeper when they bought for when Vicario got injured, he's fantastic.
Yeah, he was really good, especially because Fraser Foster was selling games,
Yeah.
and he came in and he provided like an immediate boost.
So like clearly he has an eye out for talent. Um, I wish I could look up their transfer. I don't want to do it now, but as far as I could already ask my one of my coworkers. But yeah, I'm interested to see who they buy this summer because yeah, they need a deep squad in order to keep up with all the competitions. Again, not everyone can win a treble. I think teams take a really bad turn, you would say, when they're trying to like compete for every single thing. Especially like when you're a Spurs situation like this. Like if you're a Man City or Liverpool, you have the capacity to build a huge deep team. As far
Hmm.
as like Tottenham, compete for the league, make sure you're in Champions League next year, try to win it, and then maybe in Champions League. The other cups, I would say fuck those.
Yeah, I wouldn't say, especially like the Carabao Cup, I don't see a reason to go all out for it. Like, it doesn't give you like the same incentive as say like an FA Cup. At least with the FA Cup, you're like, oh, I get guaranteed Europa League,
Yeah,
and that's like, okay, that's good money, good incentive. I won a trophy and I get European football. But like the Carabao Cup, I there's nothing to it.
there's nothing to it. It's a league cup, but that's about it. Um, again, it doesn't hold the same weight as the Europa League. But yeah, for them, they should just prioritize the league and Champions League, and for the other competitions, just use it for development for your young players. Like, what's his name? Something Gray.
Archie Gray.
Archie Gray. Play him in all those games and make him develop. Same thing with your center backs. Start tapping into the youth team and seeing what you could find, so you could like potentially not even spend money on transfers. And again, it just gives your players rotations as well.
Yeah, but it's crazy how Spurs had a better season than Arsenal.
Yeah. And this is an Arsenal side that's supposed to one of the best ever, I think. That's what they said.
Well, according to Mikel Arteta, the best in the Champions League.
Yeah, the best team got knocked out apparently. And they went trophyless. Huh.
Had a Yeah, they finished with Champions League, no trophies, but Spurs finished with Champions League and a trophy.
And a European competition before they did. Hmm.
Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy how that
Hmm.
works.
But they were supposed to be the better team, Jesse.
Yeah, and you know what's crazy is that I keep on seeing excuses from Arsenal fans from Arteta, and you know what? I'm happy that I saw recently Thierry Henry went on a podcast and said, yeah, that he's frustrated and he's upset with the situation because like at least with like Spurs and like all these other clubs, like they're building towards something. Like this is Ange's second year. He said it takes 3 or 4 years before it's fully your squad because each transfer window you bring in 3 or 4 players and then those are your guys.
Hmm.
Arteta's had 6 years. Like this is fully his squad. They're no longer, other players from other coaches. Like this is fully your squad. You haven't won a trophy. And he's like, as an example, Man U currently the worst we've seen in forever, but they've yet in these 5 years they've made like five finals. Arsenal haven't made any final.
Yeah, it's huge criticism, and you could tell the frustration from Thierry Henry. I think Arsenal is his like first love. Is he wrong? Hell no. Like you're frustrated at this point. This worst Man U side, last year they won an FA Cup. Arsenal competing against the Giants, going for glory, can't do anything against an FA Cup, a Carabao Cup, nothing. You have
And it,
nothing to show for. Like I don't know how Arteta still has a job, and on top of that, you're buying another CDM. Like, like what the fuck?
it's not like he hasn't had the financial backing. He's had backing,
Hmm.
and yet he still hasn't done anything. Like people keep on making excuses for him and for like the players, but like at a certain point, you just can't keep allowing them. Like this is like what players were or like fans were turning on a winger for. They're like, oh, he just gets us top four and
Hmm.
that's it. Arteta's doing the exact same thing.
Yeah, but you get some more of a leeway, Jesse. These are apparently this squad is better than Invincibles, but I don't know. Hold on, there's one. There's a damn church bell ringing right now. Do you hear that?
No.
Oh, okay. As long as you can hear it, it's fine. Um, but I can't think. What were we talking about?
Uh,
Arsenal.
Arsenal, yeah.
Oh man. Right now the recent transfer rumor is the biggest one is Gyökeres. He visited the offices, but the huge one right now is that Chesko apparently is close to signing with Arsenal. Mind you, we said Chesko is a great player. I don't think Arsenal is going for the right striker because Chesko, I love him and everything. He has high potential to be one of the world's best strikers. But how much are they going to spend for him? Like 90 million? The thing is, if Arsenal does buy him, they're not in a we'll buy him in 2 seasons, he'll be great. I think if Arteta doesn't win anything next season, he's out. So Arteta, I think he's going for the wrong guy. He should either be going for Gyökeres or Osimhen. Jesko is not the right move for them because they're in a win now situation. They need a proven striker. Jesko has yet to break 20 goals in a season.
I think the problem with signing Chesko is, like you said, development, but
Hmm.
also he's coming from a side in Leipzig where it was a creative force. Like he had creativity around him where they were giving him chances to score.
Hmm.
The chances he can get at Arsenal can be very scarce. Because, like we said, the only creative force that comes from them has been Odegaard and Saka. And it's a lot of the chances have been coming down to set pieces.
Hmm.
And as we've mentioned, besides Sesko, they're linked to another CDM. The creative the creativity and that squad is not there. So who's going to be creating those chances for him? So I think it's going to even highlight more his misses, which we know is he's prone to. So it's going to highlight, his deficiencies. And I feel like fans will turn on him even quicker because of his high price and say, oh, this is what we pay all this money for. When reality, I think it's the system that's fault that will be failing him.
Yeah. Oh man. Dude, what's with these why are they letting Arteta pick a transfer?
Well, they lost their director of football, and now he's got in control.
It's so dumb. I don't know. They literally should have to go for another striker. I don't know why they're going for a guy they have to develop. Like it makes no sense.
I wouldn't mind it if it was a better system, like
Hmm.
a couple years ago, where like they were playing, better football. But now that they're playing like three CDMs, and like, how do you want like Sesko to do anything when like Martinelli, we know what he's about. We both think he should be replaced and they should get another winger to provide another spark. Saka's getting double teamed on the wing because he's the only offensive threat. And Odegaard last year fell off because he has so much responsibility,
Yeah.
and it's gonna get even worse next year.
Yeah, it's interesting for sure. I think the only way Shesko would work is if Rodrigo joins the squad. But even then, Rodrigo's what a 90 million price tag too. So where are they gonna get the money? Well, it's Premier League. They don't have a salary cap, but they just spent I don't know how much money on Subimendi. If they were gonna get Rodrigo as well in the left wing, it's gonna be 90 million because Real Madrid's not letting him go for the cheap.
Well, say it like Rodrigo's like around 100, like let's round up. Sesko's probably can be 70 to 80. That's already almost 200, and then another 50 for Subamendi. That's basically a $250 million transfer window for three players.
Hmm.
And like they're so looking for more players, but I say it still doesn't fully fix their creative problems that they had next last year.
Because
Because
again, yeah, go ahead, my bad. I cut you off.
no, no, I was gonna say basic same thing I think you were gonna say.
They don't have depth. They still
Yeah.
don't have depth. Like you should be using that $250 million squad to buy not a backup center back. They have enough of those. Backup CDMs, you're fine with those. Maybe another creative force. Um, striker, well, you need a backup striker to your striker, unless they're just going to use Havertz. But again, the direction Arsenal's going, it's very weird that it's not cohesive, and I think they're gonna regret a lot of the things. Again, my biggest hot take for next season already, I'm already making a prediction, is Arteta's getting fired.
I'm with you, dude. But honestly, I would like him to stay so the Arsenal fans could keep on suffering.
Well, we'll see. But yeah, enough of them bums. Again, really bad season for Arsenal. What'd you win? Nothing. What'd you win? What'd you win? Nothing. Nothing out of that. All that hype for nothing. But the biggest thing that's happening this Saturday is the Champions League final, Jesse. Uh,
Yeah.
so many things, dude. I don't know. Do you know who's
I
gonna win?
well, everyone has PSG as favorites, and it's rightly so. They deserve it with the players that are hitting top form, with the proven manager. But I just feel like Inter have, that's something in
Oh,
them.
stop, bro. I have PSG winning just because Inter has been conceding a lot of goals. Again, they're morally defeated as well because they lost the league title. PSG is just a running riot. I don't know how they're gonna stop them. I do have fear that PSG's defense might get exposed because we saw it clearly in the Aston Villa match. They're very shaky when they had to defend. So, but I don't know. I think
Well,
Ousmane Dembele is just gonna have one of his matches. I've witnessed it. He can take over matches. He's taking over finals, and I think it's gonna be one of those kind of games.
I think the biggest thing is that this is the toughest strike force that PSG has faced this year with Lautaro Martinez and Thuram.
Hmm.
And so, like we said, what's the other center back's name? Pancho?
Yeah,
Or like this is his first year in top flight football. He could be getting exposed by Lautaro Martinez and Thuram if they're not careful.
you think so?
I think so because he's had a really good year. I think also an underrated signing that people don't talk about because PSG signed him for like 30 or 40 mil and he's held up to like a good level. But it's not, I think this is like the toughest challenge he's had this year. And I don't know, like this is, I think it's gonna be very highlighted throughout the game.
Well, we'll see how they go because PSG has some injuries. Like yeah, sure they rested some of the players for this final in the last game versus Como. But Bissek picked up an injury. What's his
Hmm.
name? Oh my God. Benjamin Pavard got re-injured. And yeah, we'll just see how it goes for them. Again, I don't know. The Inter Milan has this side has not been impressing me. Of course, what did impress me was how they played against Barcelona. But that was Barcelona's high line. I don't think PSG is going to play that much of a high line. And again, this they have a lot of injured players. Lautaro Martinez, is he at 100% fitness? Because last time we checked, he got injured in the semifinal and forced his way to play the second leg. Duran picked up an injury as well. I don't know if they're fully fit. And like you said, throughout the whole season, they're an aging squad. As the end of the season, jitter's gonna get them eventually. Because you're going up against party. I think PSG is one of the youngest squads in Europe, and they're not tired. And they won the league a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, it's fresh legs against old legs. We'll see how it goes for them. What's your scoreline prediction?
Ooh, I'll go. I feel like it goes either like PSG run right, like give it 3-1, or like an extra time 2-1 Inter.
I got a 3-0 PSG. I think Due is just gonna be too much to handle. Again, there's just so many players to handle because Due is fantastic in small spaces, which we're gonna assume that Inter Milan's gonna play a low block.
Hmm.
Dembele, he's pretty smart with the ball. Kvaratskhelia is great in small spaces as well. And then again, you said it, Jesse, they have the best midfield trio in the world.
Yeah, I know.
So, and again, the best fullbacks in the world. So this PSG squad is in something else. We've been raving about it this whole season that this is their tournament win now that Mbappe's gone and it's not his squad and it's fully in Luis Enrique's squad. So give me PSG 3-0. Hammer that
I
money line.
see. I don't know. It's just like I want to say PSG, like I really do, but there's like that naggy feeling I have in the pit of my stomach. I'm like, I don't know why. Like Inter just seemed dangerous.
If PSG win too, that they win a treble.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. And they'll be the first European title for them. If Inter loses, they won trophyless. No, well, they won the Super Cup, no? Yeah.
Did they?
Yeah, they won the Super Cup because they didn't win the Coppa Italia. They won the Super Cup against AC Milan. I think. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's an interesting final as well, just because it's two very op polar opposite styles. One super defensive, straight to counter. The other one is just straight up attack, attack, attack.
Yeah, it's tough.
But,
Mm,
but I'm telling you, I'm calling it, Jesse. It's over. And
I
then
want
from
to,
then on out, dude, it's the Club World Cup after this.
yeah, I want to say, yeah, and plus also internationally because of the Nations Cup, but who
No one
cares about
cares.
that?
No one cares. Okay, guys, we have a couple of transfer rumors and some confirmations of transfers. We're gonna go down the list real quick and give our opinions on them. Let me just find the DMs. I went to the wrong one. As far as extensions, there's three of them coming from Barcelona from off the top of my head. It's Lamine Yamal renewing his contract or getting his first pro contract um until like 2030. Rafinha renewing an extra year with Barcelona, and Hansi Flick again renewing one extra year to his contract and staying as a Barcelona coach.
Yeah. The good move by Barca locking them down and guaranteeing the future for them.
Yeah, I'm excited. Hopefully, I wish Hansi Flick got a little bit got a little bit more on his contract years, but I think he wants to retire after Barcelona, so I understand. Go where you're hot. Go ahead, Justin.
And then we have some transfers that are confirmed. Taw to Bayern Munich.
Good move just because he's staying in the league. I don't know overall.
Yeah, some might say it's a step down.
Yeah.
Then we have Liam Denlab to Chelsea.
It's an interesting one. Chelsea haven't had the best luck when it comes to transfers just because they're buying everyone. We'll see if he doesn't get stuck at the end of the bench.
And then Allegri's been confirmed to become the head coach for AC Milan.
What do you think of that one?
It's a tough situation because it's AC Milan, like it's so unpredictable. I
Hmm.
think Allegri's a good coach and he gets the best out of like certain players, but there's so much turnover in Milan that I don't know if he'll get the time.
Yeah, and he's used to having senior players. So I want to see how he is with like certain players in the squad because a lot of them are young, or a decent amount of them, like Santi, Leao. Well, Leao not too young, but you know, he's not used to like that revelry of like someone talking back. So it's gonna be an interesting thing. Hopefully they don't fire another coach.
And then another coach that was confirmed is Ten Hag to Leverkusen.
We're gonna see if it was the Man U curse, if it continues with coaches. I think it's an interesting move. But sadly that squad is getting axed.
Yeah, I feel like this is gonna be something that Ten Hag needs to prove himself, especially because I won't say it's like if he has success, I don't think it'll be like the leftover squad that Xabi Alonso left. I think it'll be his doing because, like we said, Ta is going to Bayern. A bunch of the other players are linked for moves away, and he will bring in, of course, like players that he's comfortable with.
Hmm.
So I think credit should be given to him if he does keep the same level of last year's.
Definitely. And then Angel Di Maria joins boyhood club Club Rosario. Looks like he's going on a last dance, Jesse.
Yeah, good for him. I feel like he's always been underappreciated from casual football fans. They don't understand what he brings to a team. And so hopefully he gets the sending off he deserves.
Definitely. He deserves all of it. He's again won a champion. He pretty much won everything possible. So
Yeah.
can't yeah, he
Yeah.
won Champions League, La Liga, Copa del Rey. Did he win the Premier League? No.
No, he was only there for like a year and
Yeah.
then forced him. Good for him because he went to Man U and he's like, this is a shithole. I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah,
staying.
yeah. He saw it too, and he didn't stand it. So good on him. Um, but yeah, here's some transfer rumors that's gonna go off the list, and then I'm gonna name some as well.
Yeah, we have Carreras to Madrid, which I'm happy about. Finally have a left back.
I'm hoping Ferdinand Mendy gets more playing time. But it's a good move for Real Madrid. Just Rafinha might score another goal on him.
Rafinha plays on the left
Well, he scored the goal, the game-winning goal versus Benfica in the what is it in the group stage?
on the
What
counterattack,
group stage, I guess you would say. Yeah, in the counter attack, he was the one that he shot between his legs. So maybe another moment like that, he wants it done again.
and then we have Joan Garcia to Barca
Great move. I don't know if you've been on Twitter. There's been a huge movement of Ter Stegen out, a whole hashtag that was trending globally. And yeah, Barca fans don't want him. Uh, Understandably. I don't oppose him with one of the best goalkeepers, if not the best goalkeeper of La Liga last season. And you beat out Ter Stegen. Well, Ter Stegen was injured. You beat out Courtois and Oblak. That's huge.
Yeah, this is a good move for Barca and Joan Garcia because obviously it's a step up in his career, but something I don't like. See,
All right, I'm the same way with Carrera, so
yeah, because I think Joan Garcia is a very good goalkeeper. And I think he's like also like not like a new wave where like there are a lot of focus on like his passing and touch work. Like it's also like good, but his shot stopping is like the real deal.
yeah, and that's what you need, and that's why I think that's one of the main reasons they want to get him because they saw what Burki did against them, and when they faced Inter Milan, he just kept stopping everything. Chesney has done great, but again, he's aging. He literally retired. So I think they're like, yeah, we need someone more that could shot stop than actually pass the ball.
Yeah. And then we have Wirtz to Liverpool.
It's an interesting move. I didn't see it coming.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel. I think it's like good in theory because obviously he is a big talent and he's going to a big club per se.
Yeah.
But like the thing is, I just don't see how where he goes into that squad, like how he fits into it.
That's what I was thinking.
Like maybe because like at Bayern Leverkusen, he was basically playing like as a second striker, like just right below the forward, and then like had to crave uh the freedom to go in between the lines and like roam around.
hmm
But I don't know how he does that with Liverpool,
Yeah.
or especially like if they just set him in like a three-man midfield. I don't think that's his best spot for him because like having him run up and down, even playing him at a wing, I don't think that's for him.
Yeah, you pretty much stole the words out of my mouth. That's the same thing I was thinking. I don't know where they play him. You just re-sign Salah and you buy another right winger. You okay, say you don't want to play him at right winger, you'll play him behind the striker as a center attacking midfielder. Where does McAllister play then? Clearly he could play left wing, but again, that's not his preferred
Yeah.
position. Gakpo had a great season on the left wing this season, so I don't know why they're buying him. I think the money could be used elsewhere, but
Yeah,
it's
and
interesting.
and especially also because I think it just ices out Soboslai, who they paid big money for like a couple years ago.
Mhm.
So I feel like it's not like a wasted funds, but I feel like it could have been used better.
Yeah, I would have liked the move if Salah didn't get renewed because clearly you have his replacement. But we'll see how he plays. Arnie Slot, great manager. I'm pretty sure he'll find use out of him. We just gotta wait and see.
Yeah, right now I'm thinking maybe as a false nine like striker
hmm
option, but I don't know.
Yes.
And then we have Cherki to Man City.
I don't know how they're getting away with it. Man
Same,
City has a lot of great attacking midfielders because they have Echeverry, I think that's the name.
Echeverria.
Echeverria. They had last season's Phil Foden. De Bruyne is leaving. It's I don't mind it because I know Cherky is gonna thrive in that Man City squad as a if he plays attacking midfielder.
I think it's such a great move and such I it's like when like you see like like how did people allow that to happen? Like with like sort of like the Kansas City Chiefs when like
Hmm.
they get like a draft pick and you're like, how did like when they got like Xavier Worthy like 2 years ago, we're like, how did we allow that to happen? I
Hmm.
feel like this is a similar situation because Ryan Cherky, like we've been saying, he's such an outstanding talent. He's going for 40 mil, which is so cheap in this market. And I think he's like a perfect um pep player or like old pep player. But
Yeah.
I feel like even if he doesn't play in the attacking midfield role, I think he will so crush in the right wing spot, similar to like a Mahrez vibe. And I think he's gonna fit so well next year.
Yeah, it's just a great move. No one wanted him. Man City will take him gladly. It's so crazy. Like I would have preferred this move over the Wirtz move, just because like for Wirtz to Liverpool, just because you're spending a lot more money on Wirtz for like a similar caliber of player with Turkey.
Yeah, because the transfer or like the money allotted to that, it's gonna be crazy. Because sure, it's not just gonna be like the 100 million or whatever it's gonna be the amount. You gotta remember, like he's also gonna get like insane like wages too, like maybe 10 to 15 mil.
Yeah,
Turkey's probably only gonna get maybe five,
yeah.
maybe.
So it's crazy. The next one is Reiners to Man City. So Man City is just picking up all these talented players that apparently no one wants to even try to get. Um, yeah, if they get this, they're clearly back. The worst season possible they had, finished third place. They are spending the money wisely and correctly. They don't, because I think in the past, or like I think last season, they didn't know what was going on when it comes to their transfers. Now they do, because they had the whole like charges thing that was looming, so they didn't know if they could spend. Um, Now they have no restrictions, and they're clearly going for their like great players that could just plug and play, and that's it. So I
Yeah,
love the move.
I think it's an A plus move from Man City because as we saw throughout the season, their midfielders were a problem. Like Kovacic clearly is not up to level. Um, who else was there? I can't remember. Nunez, like all these
Hmm.
other players, they weren't able to connect the midfield. They weren't ever like besides like when Rodri fell down, you saw that like no one else was able to like do that role. Like Gundogan's like old now. He's not the same player that he was.
Yeah,
Reiner's, I think, is a complete midfielder. He can defend, he can attack. For Milan, he was sort of like a firefighter. He would put out fires, and yet he would also be in a position to give great GA for the squad in general.
yeah,
He's a really good midfielder, and plus he's not young, he's not old. I think he's like right in the prime of his like footballing career. So I think he's just gonna be 100% or like really good right from the start. I would have really wanted him at Real Madrid as a midfielder recruit, but it's a shame that he's going to Man City because I think it's such a great move.
yeah. That partnership with what's it called? Rodri's gonna be insane, even with Cherki if they get him. So Haaland is gonna get all the help he needs because clearly this season he wasn't getting fed. Pretty sure next year he won't have that issue.
Yeah.
The next transfer rumor is Bruno Fernandes has held talks with Saudi league managers, and there's also rumors of him joining Bayern Munich. It looks like he might want to jump ship from Manchester United. I I prefer the Bayern Munich role because they kind of lost Thomas Mueller, that smart player, so I think it could be beneficial. With Saudi, we know he's going for the bag.
Uh, I feel like for Saudi, yeah, we just know he would if he's going there, it's because he wants money, last paycheck.
Hmm.
If he goes to Bayern, he still wants to compete. Uh, I don't know how I feel about the Bayern Munich transfer because like I said, I still have question marks over company, so I don't know if he'll be used correctly,
Hmm.
especially because I don't know if he'll allow him to coexist with Jamal Musiala.
Hmm.
And I think the biggest problem that Bayern have, I think they have bigger pressing needs because it is like we said previously, besides like Jamal Musiala, it is like sort of like an aging squad or all around because Harry Kane is not young.
I was going to say Bruno Fernandes does not help that category because he's
Yeah.
30s.
And also, I think the biggest thing is they have a goalkeeping trouble because Manuel Neuer is like 40 years old and he was injured last year and his level has dropped.
Hmm. I think they're trying to stick it out with the young goalkeeper they do have, so they don't have to spend money there. Again, I think Bundesliga, they don't have to be too worried about that. They should be more worried about the La Liga, not La Liga, Champions League. There you go.
Mm.
But again, I don't mind the move. So you don't rate it?
Yeah, I don't think it fills a need per se
Hmm.
because I don't think it's like you're not getting like an awful player, but you are paying a lot of money for something that you don't necessarily need because he will be like he plays a similar role to Jamal Musiala.
Yeah.
And because I don't think Bruno Fernandes or Jamal Musiala should be playing on the wing. I think they should be in the central spot. So how are you going to have them coexist? This can be a difficult question to ask from Vincent Company, who I still don't, trust with tactical decisions.
Yeah. You just said it well. Nico Paz to Real Madrid. That's the current rumor. They have a buyback option from Como. I do not like the move. I think he's a horrible player. I don't know why Real Madrid wants him, but no, it's a great move. Especially Real Madrid is known to sell players and have that buyback option really low, just in case they have like a season that Nico Paz did. They could just buy him back for the low. I like the move. I just don't know if the manager is capable of handling that many midfielders. Because you're again, if they bring him back, it's gonna be a surplus of midfielders, and someone's not going to be happy.
Yeah, from the move perspective, I love it because I've been saying Nico Paz is a good player and I think he needed game time. And obviously he's shown out because he won the Young Player of the Year award for Serie A,
Hmm.
becoming an instrumental force for Como. I do understand where you're coming from, but I think it's a good problem to have, especially coming this year where at certain points we were running out of players. So I think this year they've just decided to, what, even if we have a surplus, we'll just get as many players as we can because we don't want to repeat of this year where there were makeshift players everywhere.
Yeah, it's interesting. And one thing I don't think we've confirmed, but Ancelotti is the coach for Brazil.
Yeah, it's confirmed.
Did you
He,
see
I,
why he didn't take Endrick?
yeah, he's injured.
And it's a rumor going around Twitter or just people making fake accounts and making a fake quote saying that that Ancelotti gave the reason why Endrick didn't get called up was because his coach didn't play him enough.
But you saw who he did call up?
Who?
Casemiro. Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't call up Neymar. He didn't call up Rodrigo either, right?
No.
Yeah, Rodrigo might be chalk, dude, from playing Brazilian football because they ended in bad terms.
Yeah, but I was looking at the squad and it doesn't look that good either.
Yeah, so I think the rumor is just playing a bunch of left wingers. But hey, man, Arteta has defensive midfielders. Ancelotti has left wingers. But yeah,
Yeah,
that's pretty much it for the transfers and news. If there's any we missed, let us know again in the comments. Do you have any other closing statements, Jesse?
yeah, let us know if any other transfers you would like to see or think about like players that are underrated that deserve a move abroad and like tell us your perspective and like who we should look out for like as like maybe a transfer of like the season or like underrated transfer that like will work out.
Yeah, maybe next. I think next episode we'll do like we'll say a team and we come up with a dream transfer for that team. And yeah, we'll see. We'll make something out of it because yeah, it's coming. It's winding down. It's I think the only thing we're gonna have is Club World Cup, international football. It's not there.
No.
Let's be honest. It's just a board. But yeah, we'll talk more. Thank you. Thank you. Oh my God! Thanks again for watching. Sound it out, Unc. Sound it out. Uh, thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe. Peace.
Peace.